Here is your latest African news. Your news highlights. Africa-wide. UN trade body calls for halting cryptocurrency rise in developing countries. Kenya. Kenya's court must decide if it has the right to hear Daniel Motaung's case against Meta. Sierra Leone. Internet shut, national curfew declared in Sierra Leone. Mali. Mali military leader holds phone talks with Putin. Rwanda. Blinken arrives in Rwanda amid row over M23 rebels. Nigeria. UK Horniman Museum to return 72 artifacts to Nigeria. West Africa. Ivorian soldiers held for a month in Mali, negotiation favored. Diaspora. US Virgin Islands creates park system and adds 30 properties. Diaspora. Serena Williams announces plans to retire from tennis. Africa-wide. UN trade body calls for halting cryptocurrency rise in developing countries. The UN Trade and Development Body UNCTAD has called for action to curb cryptocurrencies in developing nations in 3 policy briefs published on August 10th. Although private digital currencies have rewarded some individuals and institutions, they are an unstable financial asset that can bring social risks and costs, the agency warned. UNCTAD said their benefits to some are overshadowed by the threats they pose to financial stability, domestic resource mobilization, and the security of monetary systems. Cryptocurrencies are an alternative form of payment. Transactions are done digitally through encrypted technology known as blockchain. The use of cryptocurrency rose globally at an unprecedented rate during the COVID-19 pandemic, reinforcing a trend that was already in motion. Some 19,000 cryptocurrencies are currently in existence. UNCTAD also highlighted the particular risk that stablecoins pose in developing countries with unmet demand for reserve currencies. While cryptocurrencies can facilitate remittances, UNCTAD warned that they may also enable tax evasion and avoidance through illicit financial flows, similar to a tax haven where ownership is not easily identifiable. Kenya. A Kenyan court must decide if it has the jurisdiction to hear the case against Meta brought by Daniel Motaung. Motaung is a former employee at Sama, a Kenyan-based company which moderates content on behalf of Facebook. He alleges his working conditions resulted on him getting post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Motaung, a South African and former employee at Sama, a Kenyan-based company which moderates content on behalf of Facebook, is suing both Sama and Meta. He alleges his working conditions resulted in him getting post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, from the type of content he moderated. He also alleges they tried to bust his attempt to organize workers into a union. The case, which is being heard in the Employment and Labor Relations Court in Nairobi, is far-reaching because it has the potential to bring the issue around the working conditions for content moderators to the fore. The treatment of content moderators by Meta has become a controversial issue for the social media group. Moderators have said they have been traumatized by some of the content they have been asked to adjudicate and have accused Meta of not doing enough to help them through it. Moderators in the US were successful in getting Meta to settle with them in 2021 when they got the company to agree to pay them $85 million to 10,000 of them. The group did not admit wrongdoing as part of the settlement. Sierra Leone. Internet shut, national curfew declared in Sierra Leone. The Vice President of Sierra Leone, Dr. Mohamed Jules Diallo, has declared a nationwide curfew following a nationwide protest on August 10th, with protesters calling on the government to resolve the issue of economic hardship and the high cost of living in the country. In the morning hours of August 10th, protests hit several communities in the east of Freetown and other major towns across the northern province of Sierra Leone. Vice President Jallo invoked the military to work alongside the police against the protesters after at least 2 policemen and unspecified number of citizens have been killed. United Nations resident coordinator in Sierra Leone, Babatunde Ahonsi, expressed serious concerns over the violent incidents in Freetown. The UN called for calm and peaceful dialogue to resolve the issues. Over the past couple of months, the cost of basic commodities, grains, fuel, and other needs have skyrocketed rapidly, and there seems to be no resolution in sight. Following this incident, the internet was shut down across the country for at least 2 hours. Mali military leader holds phone talks with Putin. Russian President Vladimir Putin discussed possibly supplying food, fertilizers, and fuel to Mali in a phone call with the African country's interim leader Assimi Goïta on August 10th, according to a Kremlin statement. Goïta said on Twitter the two leaders talked about Russia's support for Mali's political transition. The West African country has deepened its Soviet-era ties to Russia as its relationship soured this year with its longtime ally and former colonial ruler, France. France announced in February it was pulling its troops out of Mali after nearly a decade there. Fighters from the Wagner Group, a Kremlin-linked private military company, have been supporting the Malian army in its fight since late last year. Rwanda. Blinken arrives in Rwanda amid row over M23 rebels. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is due to hold talks with Rwandan President Paul Kagame amid calls from campaigners to pressure Kigali over its human rights record and alleged support of M23 rebels in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. Blinken arrived in Rwanda late August 10th, the final stop of a three-nation trip to Africa, hot on the heels of a visit to the continent by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The U.S. diplomat has sought to woo African nations, which have largely steered clear of backing Washington against Moscow in the Ukraine war, by calling for an equal partnership with the continent. His visit comes after an unpublished independent investigation for the UN has reported that Rwandan troops had attacked soldiers inside the DRC and aided M23 rebels, a primarily Tutsi rebel group. Nigeria. UK Horniman Museum to return 72 artifacts to Nigeria. London's Horniman Museum has said it would return 72 artifacts, including 12 brass plaques known as Benin bronzes looted from the Benin city by British soldiers in 1897 to the Nigerian government. Created from brass and bronze in the once mighty kingdom of Benin in what is now southwestern Nigeria, from at least the 16th century onwards, the Benin bronzes are among Africa's most culturally significant artifacts. They were seized along with thousands of other items in a British military incursion and ended up in museums in Europe and the United States. African countries have battled for years to recover works pillaged by explorers and colonists, while Western institutions are grappling with the cultural legacies of colonialism. German authorities last month returned the first of more than 1,100 priceless sculptures to Nigeria, following examples set by Jesus College at Cambridge University and the Kwai Branly Museum in Paris last year. The Horniman said Nigeria's National Commission for Museums and Monuments (NCMM) had requested the return of the artifacts at the beginning of the year. The returns are likely to increase pressure on the British Museum in London, which holds by far the largest and most significant collection of Benin bronzes. West Africa. Ivorian soldiers held for a month in Mali, negotiations favored. Negotiations remain the preferred option for obtaining the release of 49 Ivorian soldiers detained for a month in Bamako and accused by the military in power in Mali of being mercenaries, which Abidjan denies, claiming that they were on a mission for the UN. This case illustrates the tensions between Mali and Côte d'Ivoire, accused by Bamako of having incited its West African partners to tighten sanctions against the Malian military perpetrators of two coups since 2020. Sanctions were finally lifted in early July. A mediation by Togo has so far been unsuccessful, but discussions are continuing with a view to releasing the detained soldiers as quickly as possible. On 10th July, 49 Ivorian soldiers in military uniform, baton-armed, disembarked in Bamako from a plane of the national airline Air Côte d'Ivoire, another plane carrying their weapons. They were immediately arrested and questioned about their presence in Mali, as they had neither a mission order nor authorization to be there, according to the Malian authorities. The next day, they were accused of being mercenaries who had come to Mali with the fateful intention of breaking the momentum of the rebuilding and securing of Mali, as well as the return of constitutional order. The UN confirms but acknowledges dysfunctions as to the exact mission of these soldiers, who are part of the National Support Element, NSE, a UN procedure allowing contingents of peacekeeping missions to call on external providers for logistical support. Diaspora. U.S. Virgin Islands creates park system, adds 30 properties. The U.S. Virgin Islands has created a new territorial park system that protects more than 30 areas from commercial development and reserves them for activities including hiking and beaching. Properties that total hundreds of acres were identified in St. Croix, St. John, and St. Thomas, including Great Salt Pond, Oppenheimer Beach, Cascais, and Bovoni Gay. Governor Albert Bryan also signed legislation that revises a trust fund board whose 7 members will be responsible for managing and acquiring land. The government also expects to implement a maroon sanctuary zone in St. Croix West End to honor the legacy of Caribbean descendants of West African who escaped slavery using guerrilla warfare. The area is home to Maroon Ridge, which served as a refuge for runaway slaves. Diaspora. Serena Williams announces plans to retire from tennis. American tennis great Serena Williams has said she plans to retire, possibly after the US Open tournament, which begins later this month. In a post on Instagram on August 9th, Williams was not completely clear on the timeline, but the line "next few weeks" indicated it could be after the US Open. The post also revealed Williams will feature on the cover of Vogue's September issue, with the cover story aptly titled "Serena's Farewell." The issue features a first-person essay on why she feels now is the right time to leave tennis. Williams, who first burst into the scene as a teenager with a victory at the 1999 US Open, will finish with at least 73 career single titles, 23 career double titles, and more than $94 million in career winnings. She also holds the record for most Grand Slam singles titles in the Open era with 23, just one championship shy of Margaret Court's all-time record. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, follow, share, and like our video. It's the best way of supporting us. And remember, Africa is watching.